Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We've got an unbelievable show for you. First, our host. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glenn. She's Becky Ely. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey,
we're here. It's all good. Hey, listen, cruising right into 2024. Harvey, where did 2023 go?
I don't
Becky?
know. I'm still looking for October. I don't even know what happened in October, let alone like the rest of the month.
So a bunch of these months that have just gone by. Yeah. Jennifer Hemstrom joins us from Thrive Realty. Hey,
Great
how you doing, Jen?
Here.
Good to see you.
I'm super pumped about Jennifer being here. She's one of the most genuine people that I have the pleasure of working with. We get to work with a lot of people, which is amazing, right? On the Hardcore Mortgage Show, we have nothing but the best on our platform. And when we can bring in someone, shine a new light on Jennifer, I'm so excited to have you here because the proof is in the pudding, and I've got to get to know her better personally, professionally, and you are literally a diamond.
Well, I appreciate that introduction. My goodness.
It's a lot of pressure, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
A lot of pressure.
All right, that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. Hey, we're going to take your calls on mortgages, real estate, 1 hour. And then, of course, it's going to be sports all day here with Pat Caputo and a whole bunch of football stuff happening all weekend long. 248-539-9797. So much to share with you, including Becky. They bumped up Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, bumped up the conforming loan limits. And of course, it affects some people. Our jumbo rates are great, but really how it affects people, Becky, is like over 800,000, you can put 5% down and get a house.
Yeah, there's a lot of really positive changes. You know, we've had a lot, real estate, mortgages, we went from the highest highs to now we're the lowest lows as far as like it was raining real estate there for a minute. And now those in the industry, you have to work a little bit harder. It used to be everyone came in, some people came in the business being gatherers. Well, now you have to be a hunter again a little bit, but there's everything that is happening is to make it easier for individuals to qualify for mortgages. So now if you can have a higher price point mortgages, if you're so inclined, there you can put 5% down, whereas normally you had to put at least 15% down in that kind of price point.
So everything that was talked about going into 2023, and we're reflecting a little bit here because you have to take a little look back to see where you're going in the future. So everybody was predicting that 2023 was not going to be a good year in home sales. Well, what they were really referring to was home inventory because the sales were there. If there was a house on the market, it sold, right, Jennifer?
It did.
And now going into 2024, it's probably the same kind of market. There's going to be, I hate to use the word, lack of inventory, shortage of inventory. It's normal inventory now, right?
And that's a good thing. I mean, if you think about it, it's hard if you have 100 options or maybe you have 20 good ones. You'll find it.
Yeah, you're going to
just got to
find
get
it.
out there and look.
And people are out there buying. Everybody don't watch the national media here in Metropolitan Detroit. People are buying homes. As a matter of fact, we had a tremendous October, November, and our December looks really good. And rolling into 2024, prices are not coming down. As a matter of fact, they're going to go up. So supply and demand, Becky, if there's a lack of supply on the market and there's more of a demand, prices are going up. And they're predicting, the experts, and I can't stand the experts because they're like weathermen. They're never right. They're right 50% of the time. Or an umpire.
The umpires are right more than us.
All right,
I don't know.
I don't know. Look at the Fox box down there with balls and strikes. Anyways, so what's predicted for coming up in 2024, it's going to be about the same year as 2023 in terms of home sales. There are a lot of buyers out there, but I think, and I'm not going to go on the record and say for sure, we might see rates come down a little bit in 2024. That'll help.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like you still hear, I'm waiting for the market to crash. I'm waiting for the market to crash. And to be honest with you, it's not going to, because you can't have a crash in the housing industry when there's a lack of inventory. And history does not always repeat itself, but as long as you learn from it. And, history, each time there's been an economic slowdown, typically that is followed by rates coming down a little bit. So, and it's cyclical. You can see it. It's right there on, you can document, you can look back on it. So according to the experts, I'm air quoting everybody, rates, we are on the cusp of the rates coming down a little bit, but what happens when the rates come down?
Yeah, get out there now before they do.
Yes.
There you go,
all I can say.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And so you hear that and people don't understand what we're meaning by that. And what we're trying to say to you, anyone that's listening, if you're trying to throw your hat in the ring, if home ownership is in your wheelhouse for 24, even 25. You need to start the conversations now, because in 2020, when the rates were the lowest of the lows, everybody and their mama was out here getting a house, and that created the housing market and these prices to go up. And right now, a lot of individuals are taking advantage of the fact that you can actually get a really good deal on a home. You don't have to go over asking. I know
This is the best. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me butt in here. This
Go ahead,
is the
yeah.
best market right now that you want to be in. You're not seeing as many multiple offer situations. You're not having to give those appraisal guarantees. You're not having to waive your inspection. It is much safer as a buyer. It feels better.
Yeah, because you're locking in the price of the home, and you don't have to go $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking. I have a client, they're on the higher price point, $735,000. This house probably, I think it was listed around $800,000. They locked it in at $735,000. So now they have the budget to go and make the modifications that they want. They're going to upgrade the home. They're going to make the changes because it was outdated. And now in 6, 7, 8, 12 months, whenever this moment happens with the rates, they're going to refinance, but they secured the property at a price that they felt comfortable with.
And they know, and like you said, Becky, and they know, we know next year that same house is going to be 10, 15, maybe 17% higher. So,
and that's even before they
just
make the upgrades.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
just do the math on that. And Jennifer, I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
You've got home buyers that you've been working with. They have not found a property yet. But you're still out there. And we've had clients like you that have been looking, and when they finally find that home, it takes a long time, but then when they find it, it's the best thing that they've never quit, right? They never quit during that process.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I think people don't understand going into it. It is a process. There's people that I talk to maybe for a few years before they even take that first step of getting the approval, going out there. But I want to be there along the way to coach them up, make sure they know who I am, how I can help them. I'm going to be there. And when you do finally find it, yes, sometimes you do look at 20 houses. Sometimes it does take a year, but it feels amazing.
Jen, I love the fact that you've been around 16 years, so you've seen some different industry, things in
Yeah.
our industry, seen some highs and lows. And I like how you said, Harvey, but there's not 100 choices out there. There's 20 choices. So this inventory crunch definitely can sort of help a buyer out there. Maybe help them narrow in on really where they want to be, the location, narrow that in a little more, and the specifics of the house. So I sort of like that idea because it forces you to be a little bit closer to what your wants and your needs are, and really narrow it in. Probably makes your job maybe a little bit easier.
It
maybe
does
not.
at times. It's not easy, but it is when you have so many options. And a lot of times where you're looking, a Royal Oak bungalow, they all start to look the same. You don't need to look at that many houses.
Yeah, but you're being like the eyes and ears and, finding things. And I want to bring up something that you can't make this stuff up. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call from, he's actually a client that Jennifer referred me, maybe I think it was like 6 months ago at this point, maybe even longer. But anyway,
Probably.
so he called, he fell off the radar a little bit, but 8 in the morning, I'm driving to the station today, and he calls me and he said, hey, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you and Jennifer for sticking with me, and I apologize for not returning some of your phone calls. I had to do some digging. I was a little bit embarrassed of my credit. I did some personal things I had to work through, but I'm ready now. And I want to thank you and Jennifer for never giving up on me and just being there and constantly checking in and checking up on me. And
That's a wonderful
That's
call.
the best
Isn't it?
call.
Isn't that a great call
it was
again?
a great call. And then and then it was a testament to and one of the things he said about Jennifer is, he's like, I did talk to another real estate agent. He's like, and they didn't exude the same patience and kindness that Jennifer gave me. And I want you to know that you guys are my people, because I never 1 minute felt like you guys were giving up on me. So that is everything that you're saying. So whether it's someone trying to buy in 5 minutes, 5 months, or 5 years, it doesn't matter to us as long as they are side by side and we're educating them. And that is a testament to you of what he said to me. It was totally unsolicited. He called me this morning.
I know, that's amazing.
It's a pretty awesome call.
Yeah,
I think
shout out to Larry.
There's a saying, people will always remember the way you make them feel.
Absolutely.
So whether it's personal or whether it's a business transaction, that first feeling that you get from somebody is usually the right feeling. Yep. So, got to call Becky, and we get these calls. And when you get these calls, they're so rewarding. You're talking to somebody. Got a call yesterday from a guy, 20-year client. He's on his third house. And he called me because there's been a property that he's been looking at. And check this out, Jennifer. He said, my realtor told me not to buy it. I said, great. Why that? Why is that? It's been on the radar for 5 months. Well, if a property is on the market, on the radar for 5 months, there's probably something wrong with it. And I told him the same thing. He said, I just wanted to confirm it. So realtors that tell the truth, everybody that tells the truth and making people feel great, that's what it's all about, and they will always come back.
We're going to make everyone feel great when we come back. We're up against our first break here. We'd love to hear from you. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, Equal Housing Lender. You can call us at Capital Mortgage at any time at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We're going to bring up our caller. Calling in is Matthew Burney from Quest Realty. Hey, Matt, you are live on the show. Matt, thanks for getting me involved in this fundraiser you got going. Tell everyone about what we got, this toy drive happening tomorrow.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, great, man. So I thank you guys so much for having me on. So I'm so excited to be able to, try to give back to the community when I can. So I partnered with Waterfall Jewelers, which are some good friends of mine up there in Waterford. And we are putting on our first annual Christmas toy drive. It will be from 12 to 4 tomorrow. It's a 100% free community event. So we have food trucks and DJs and pictures with Santa. Everybody knows it's hard to get in to see Santa these days. Photo booth. Just got somebody to donate a face painting. We got hot cocoa bar. We're giving away a ton of prizes and gift cards from local businesses. We've partnered with local businesses to really push this thing. And the real goal is to raise as much awareness and gather as many toys as we can for the Bottomless Toy Chest. Not sure if you guys are familiar with the Bottomless Toy Chest, but they are an organization that works with over 20 plus hospitals and local businesses to mainly focus on providing toys to kids with cancer and other infectious diseases. So incredibly close to my heart. I'm hoping to get as many people as I can there to fill this truck that was supplied to me by or is donated to me by Supply Den in Auburn Hills. They've been gracious to provide the vehicle that we want to stuff this 26-foot box truck. So super excited. Would love anybody and everybody to come out. Again, it is a completely free event for the community. It's going to be great. Got lots of volunteers there, and happy to be a part of it.
Tell everybody where it's going to be again. Tell everybody where, what time, the whole thing, what they have to do so we can get you so many toys.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, December 3rd from 12 to 4 at Waterfall Jewelers, the actual jewelry store at 5619 Dixie Highway, Waterford Township, 48329. I will have the Lions game on too, so people want to watch the Lions game, they can do that.
All right, a lot of
Lions
great
for the Super Bowl. We'll make sure we're going to get that on the socials too. So check out the Hardcore Mortgage Funding page and the Capital Mortgage Funding page, and we'll make sure we promote this for you because obviously we love getting involved with the community. We're going to do everything we can to support this cause because there's people that are always less fortunate than ourselves or the next person. So anything we can do to support you, we're here for it.
All right, thanks a lot, Matt Burney there from Quest Realty. We'll see you out there, Matt. I'm going to hug it out with you and bring you a toy. Definitely Waterfall Jewelers out at Dixie Highway, just northern part of Waterford, and really cool. There's so many of these events starting to happen, and again, do what you can. I never liked when people reached out to me, hey, you should donate here and there and everywhere. This is a good one. This is going to lift the spirits of a lot of kids that are fighting some really tough battles out there. So
you can
sounds like a great event.
Yeah, you can never forget there are people struggling out there, and this time of year, sometimes it can bring out the best in people, and we like that, and we're involved, and toy drives are great, and donating. However you donate your time, your effort, and your energy to help other people out that are less fortunate, why not do it? Let's just do it. We do it all the time.
Love it. All right, 248-539-9797. Jennifer Hemstrom joins us from Thrive Realty. And, of course, we always dive right into what's going on in our local markets. That inventory crunch has been something. One good thing for sure is, and, of course, it's out there a little bit in the news, as maybe we've seen the worst of these high interest rates, Becky. Maybe that high 8% or tipping over 8%, maybe the worst of it's all gone. And we're starting to see a downward trend.
Yeah, I do feel like we've already hit that cusp of the highest of the highs. I mean, lack of inventory, soaring prices have made it most difficult for first-time home buyers. And even though the housing market is going up, home prices are rising, but so is rent. And that's really what it is. And you have to understand that, as the housing market is going to increase, the same house that you're going to buy this year is going to be worth more money next year because as these rates come down, like we just talked about before the break, so are the inventory, the issue. More people are going to be coming into the market. It's going to naturally keep driving these up. It's inventory, it's supply and demand. Eco 101, we talk about it all the time. That's why if you're waiting for the housing market to crash, it is not going to happen because there's not enough inventory and there's a surplus of buyers. I mean, especially with your boomers between 24 and 34, we talk about that's 43 million that are actively in the market and we just don't have enough homes for them.
Yeah, what we're seeing now, Jennifer, take a look at this. Ready? Metro Detroit home prices rise. That's good news and that's bad news. Well, it's really good news. I mean, it's great because, listen, things for a while around here, and we're always the last to come out of it and the first to go into it when things are bad. Home prices around here are still extremely low, comparatively speaking, to other parts of the country. Yeah. We're seeing it. That's why the houses are getting snapped up, and they're getting snapped up by investors too. So we believe that next year is going to be a great year, not a good year for home buying. And also, if you can get a little break, as we're talking about, now this is a little break in mortgage interest rates. I don't want to make that the highlight and the headline of this show or any show because they're not going to go down to 2 or 3%. It's not going to happen, everybody. The however is they could come down slightly. You'll see it maybe through the spring. Maybe by the time we get to this time next year, we'll have a party and we will talk about exactly how much they came down.
So, Jen, what do you say about the buyers right now that are looking for that perfect moment to enter into the market?
It's right now. You can refinance later when things come down. If they come down far enough, that remains to be seen. But at this point right now, the just the sheer amount of people in the market has dropped down due to the holidays, seasonality. We see that all the time. So you don't have that competition. And something that you said, Becky, for the first-time buyers, there's so many great programs out there. So if you're renting right now, rent is going up. You have to have decent credit. maybe a little bit of money saved, but there's some awesome first-time buyer programs out there right now for you, and they come with lower interest rates.
They do. They do come with lower interest rates. And here at Capital Mortgage Funding, you have to have at least a 580 FICO score. There's things that happen in people's lives where this is a judgment-free zone. So there's a lot of hesitation where you're carrying that stigma of something that you did when you were a child or when you're first establishing your credit because you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of misinformation on how people can manage their credit, get their credit where it needs to be. But it all starts with that conversation. And, if you have a 580 and we can piggyback one of these down payment assistance programs that, for example, in the city of Livonia, there's still funds available where you can get $14,999. Now, there are income limits with that, but you won't know until you have a conversation. So if you have a 580 FICO score and you're looking in the city of Livonia, give us a call because there are down payment funds. And we talk about it often. And, Harvey, I'll kick it over to you. But we talk about it because right now there's more programs than there's ever been to assist a first-time home buyer because we are fully aware that the inventory is low and there's people from the outside coming into, especially Michigan, that are going to gobble up these properties, that are going to further keep the hemorrhaging going on with the lack of inventory. So they are doing everything they can to stimulate that first-time home buyer to make that plunge because we want you to occupy the home. We want people that are stay here and take care of their families here.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, we got a call or a text from somebody, and I tried to call the person back, but they didn't answer their phone. Addressing the situation, how come there aren't as many mortgage programs as there used to be? Wrong. There are way more mortgage programs now. There are certain qualifications, income qualifications, credit, location qualifications, but they're out there and we're going to find it. We've got one coming up. It's 1% down in selected areas and selected income. 1% down, you can get into a house. So I don't want to hear, and that's on top of many, many programs that we're offering. So you're going to, if you're paying rent right now and you can afford the rent payment, the old adage was, well, Harry, Becky, Harvey, Jennifer, I can afford the payment. I just don't have the down payment. Well, we're going to find a way for you to get the down payment so you don't have to rent anymore.
Yeah, now's your chance for that window. Just real quick, Becky, you definitely, and if your credit score is a little on the lower side, we can work with you a little bit. We've did an undercover investigation, so to speak. After being in the mortgage industry for this long, we've seen lots of repair companies, these credit repair companies, and people are constantly forking over $150, $200 a month feeding into these systems. Some of them are legit, and most of them are not.
$500 up front,
and most of them are not,
month.
Harry. So there's a little bit of misinformation out there. So again, reach out to us because we can run the credit simulators back. That'll tell us what somebody can do to enhance their credit score. And again, get them set up for one of these down payment assistance programs if needed. If you've got all the tea in China, that's great. If we can bump up your credit scores over 760, over 780, that's just going to give you a better opportunity to save money.
Doing that right now for people. She's got people that she's already this week bumped up their credit score. Lisa, everybody in our office, they're doing that. And I'm seeing them come across our desk where they were down and now they're up and we can get them going. And by the way, I'm going to give everybody a little hint out there. If we can manual underwrite, what does that mean? A real person underwrites the file and takes a look at it with human eyes and gives a little grace and says, hey, look it, there was a temporary period in this person's time when they were a little down, but right now let's go. Let's get them into a house.
The truth is that like we talk about, if you don't quit, you're going to be rewarded. I'm actually even working with a buyer with Brandy in your guys' office, and we originally had the first conversation in September. We just now got the scores high enough to now he qualifies for one of these down payment assistance programs. It's huge because sometimes rent makes sense, but most individuals rent because they don't have that down payment assistance or they don't have that down payment saved, right? Sometimes it takes 3-4 years to save up even $5,000. But what we're trying to say to you is that you don't have to have 20% down to purchase a house. Sometimes you can get into a home with 1% down with these down payment assistance programs. And something that we actually have a new program that's available where anyone can contribute to your down payment. And what that is, we're going to be rolling it out. It's called Home Funded. You can it's like setting up a GoFundMe page. As soon as you're pre-qualified, we can get you set up. It's tagged with your real estate agent. Anyone can contribute to it. It's going to go your family, your friends, your coworkers, and even set up right now where if someone is shopping, you can actually contribute towards their funding. And so if let's just say your mom and dad are going to give you $5,000 no matter what as a gift, you can get that $5,000 from that. And then we as the lender will match $2 for every dollar. So in addition to that, you can get a $2,000 lender credit from us. So you have to have the conversation. So you can get up to, we're going to match and double up to $2,000. So you can get $7,000 just for setting up this page, and it doesn't have to be contributed just to family, because some of the issue is,
Remember that?
people don't ask.
It used to
if
be
you don't
that
ask, you don't get.
It used to be immediate family members only. I mean, cousins couldn't
They're
even
so,
do it.
they're
Okay.
like, yeah, it's insane. And so we're really excited about some of these things that we're going to be rolling out in 2024, but they're available now. But if you don't ask, you don't get, and all starts with that conversation.
That's the biggest takeaway for anybody listening. Have that first conversation. Find yourself a Becky and a Jennifer,
Yep.
some qualified professionals that can help you get to that goal, because it is a lifelong goal.
Yeah, put your people together. Put your team together.
All right, I'll take it.
That's great.
Appreciation of homes, 5 to 10%, and that's when things are slower around here. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll take all your calls at 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back to the show. 9:30 if you're just joining us. December 2nd, we're in the month of December already. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Be safe. And always call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Eric Lanz's birthday today.
All right,
Oh,
we got a lot
happy
of good
birthday.
things.
His
All right.
birthday and Mark Zugabe's birthday, but that's another story too.
All right, lots of good stuff happening
Twin
here.
brothers, yeah.
Fun things happen. He got that Waterfall Jewelers tomorrow. I'll remind everyone out there. Matt Burney called in from Quest Realty. Yeah, it's a cool event, and I love all these fundraisers and stuff. And if you've got something going on like that, we definitely want to hear from you. Always call the station here, 248-539-9797. We will go to our caller right after we talk about this ticket text here, because this is one that people really are missing on.
They don't get what Zillow really is.
Zillow sells leads, your name and number, to anybody out there who's willing to pay, Harry.
So it's a big mistake. If you're feeling sick and you have a pain and you go to the internet, it's going to say that you're dying and all that kind of thing. Just please don't do that.
WebMD, Harry.
That's number one. Number two is, if you're depending on Zillow for your home value, it's just wrong. All right. The way to do a value, first you call your real estate agent. They'll do a home
CMA.
They'll do a CMA, and then to really get it down, almost to the best, you have to have a full-blown appraisal on your property, comparing it to other properties. Listen, Zillow is just, it's just for informational purposes. It is not the be-all and
It's actually worse than that, but that's a whole other story.
People, it's going to be too high. It's going to be too low. It's not going to be
very rare that it's head on.
It's not going to be just right.
You got to think about it. Has Zillow been inside your home? You got to get eyes inside there. You got to see the updates, the condition, the maintenance. That's what brings the value.
There are people out there that think Zillow has been inside their home, and they're flipping out. Okay,
I feel like
right
they're
now.
probably in my home watching me through the TV or something. But
They may be.
You got to understand too what you pay for the home. Some people we're trying to speak on here is get yourself a position where you're not in a negative equity position, because if you overpay for your home, because there's a difference between price and value. What someone is willing to pay for your house is not really what it's truly worth, because there's a lot of the characteristics that go into it. So get educated. If you really want to know what the value of your home is, we'll hit you up with JG over here. She's the OG of Thrive. And then we're also going to get you with a qualified appraiser to go inside your home to really give you a value.
Original gangster Jennifer, let me ask you this too. Right, they didn't go down to your basement to see if it's a walkout basement, if you have a daylight window, if you finished your walkout, if you replaced the furnace, the roof. I'm just throwing a few things out there. How about
Just a
is
few,
a house
right?
even on a lake? So again, we've seen $100,000 swings. I've seen it on my own home. So it means nothing, folks. Again, Zillow's worried about selling your name and number to whoever the highest bidder is, and that's about the end of it. I can take it a little bit further, but we're going to take your phone calls here and keep things on the positive side. Here's the good news, Jen. Don't you agree? Home values are going up, and even in slower markets, 5 to 10%. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable time for housing.
Even if it's 3%.
I'll take it back.
Even if it's a 3% increase. Come on.
You mean 3% on 400,000? So every year your house potentially goes up 12,000. So next year it's worth 312.
Real
The year
estate
after
is a
that,
long
it's 324. 5 years later, your house is worth 360. I'll take that every day of the week.
Real estate is the long game. You got to stay in it. You're in it to win it. And the difference between renting and owning is you have equity now in your home. And that's the thing that you're not going to get when you're renting. And that's really at the end of the day.
All right. And a little reminder out there, call station 248-539-9797. We don't like the ticket text, right? Because then we're going to challenge you to like football catching contest and all this other weird stuff. So don't do it to us, please. Hey, Ron's calling out there, actually. Let's go to our caller out there, Eric. Hey, good morning, Ron. Thanks for calling in. Ron, turn down your radio. Let's do this.
There you go.
There you go, man. Go ahead.
We can hear you now.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, go.
Way better.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm hearing about your 1% down program. I'm currently renting, and I wanted to find out what kind of a payment I might be looking at with that program. Looking at a house that's between $275 and $300. That's about as much as based on my income and where I feel comfortable. Currently renting, paying $1,400 a month for a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. So how could it make sense putting 1% down with private mortgage insurance and all those things? What kind of a payment versus what I'm renting for right now?
What area are you looking at? And we'll do the calculation for you, but there's also, income qualifications, and there are things that you're not going to want to talk about on the air that we'll call you off the air and get that to you. But what cities are you looking for to move to?
Well, currently I'm in Farmington Hills. I'm looking Farmington Hills, Novi, West Bloomfield.
Okay, great.
All right, let me hit you with some numbers. I got some good stuff here. I pull out the calculator on you. Just to give you some raw numbers. If you were able to borrow $275,000 at 7%, the principal and interest on that is $1,837. But my friend Ron, you got to add the taxes, the insurance, and the mortgage insurance. We are going to give you a call off the air to show you what that number looks like and what some other numbers look like. You sound like you'll be our perfect buyer for us. We'll get you hooked up with a great real estate agent and all those good things. But he needs more information, Becky, and most people do. Ron, I think it's a great call.
Yeah, no, but like, so just to kind of take it a little deeper is, you know, you have that price point in your mind, but we have to scale it to figure out what it is that you're comfortable with, right? So, you know, you threw out a price point, that's fine, but we got to scale it back to the payment that you feel comfortable with. And the 1% down, it's your 1% investment. But like if you're looking in West Bloomfield or Farmington Hills, like you're talking about, you know, there are programs where you can get up to $10,000 right now. And we have a few others that are coming in depending on what your credit score is. We're going to identify that for you, but we have to identify that true price point that's going to keep you in that realm, in that real house of what you feel good with, and on top of the fact of what you feel comfortable putting down. So we'll get into all those details with you after the show. We'll get you hooked up with Jen as well, and making sure that not only are we looking at your credit profile, we're going to look at what your comfortability is, not only with payment, but what you feel comfortable with putting down, and what is going to be the actual program, because it's not cookie cutter. Everyone's situation is different. We're going to treat you as such.
I get it. It just sounded like you were saying that, you know, buying versus renting.
It is.
That you could put together something where it would be more beneficial.
It is.
But, you know, I you know, on my own, I've run numbers, but trying to buy with all the other factors, like you're saying, the down payment, private mortgage insurance, taxes, and all those things, versus I'm just paying a flat $1,400.
Yeah, but you're paying a flat $1,400. Yeah, so you're paying a flat $1,400, and you're not gaining anything from that. And wherever you're renting, they could say, okay, I'm going to sell this house, and now you're back to trying to find another place to look for $1,400. So what we're just talking about is you need to invest in yourself, and we're going to try to help you find that path to get there. We're not selling anything other than just let's have conversations so we can figure out what that price point is to lock in your own personal $1,400 a month forever.
Oh, I love that.
And Becky, what he's not taking in consideration is that's $1,400 going to nothing, which is the equivalent of if he had principal, interest, tax, and insurance. He gets a mortgage interest deduction. He'll get a property tax deduction, and that $1,400 really turns into $2,200, $2,100, $2,000. So that's really what he's throwing away right this second.
What I tell people is to think of it, you're paying monthly into your own savings account. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Or else you're paying into somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between like homeownership and renting is equity. Every month when you're making that payment, X amount is going towards your own personal equity, not to mention the other person, your neighbor selling their house for over market. And now your equity is building and growing. So that way, when you eventually want to sell or you need to pull money out of that home, you can utilize that. Because we talk about this on the show often, if you want to invest in stock market, right? You need on $100,000, you need $100,000 to invest in the stock market. If you want to invest in $100,000 in real estate, you need maybe $3,000.
Right.
You know, so
what he's not considering is that the government is your partner in very few things these days, and two of the things are mortgage interest up to $750,000 and property taxes up to $10,000. So listen, there are a lot of ways that we can do the math for you, but it has to work for you. We're not telling you to buy that house. We're saying that if you want to buy a house, we can help you. But we have to set you up for success too. We don't want to put you into debt.
No.
You know, that's over. You can't, I mean, there's trillions of dollars right now in credit card debt between 18 and 22%. And people are crying about 7.5% interest rates.
Well,
come on, you got to do your own personal inventory and do your own financial
I'm
analysis.
I'm going to hug it out with Ron. I'm going to meet him. We're going to have our breakfast, our lunch. We're going to give him confidence. We're going to go over all the numbers. There's a human factor to home ownership, Jen. It's really not only the numbers, it's about meeting your neighbors, and those become your lifelong friends, and your kids growing up and going to that school down the street and their lifelong friends, and that great education, because you wanted to move them out of that apartment situation.
It's a whole lifestyle.
It's a whole lifestyle. And by the way, the wealthiest people in the world are all homeowners. I don't know of too many folks. I mean, the numbers are out there. I'm just repeating what I read. And wealth is really set up in an easy way to set up some wealth. Again, unless you're unless you're Warren Buffett's son or daughter or cousin or uncle, is probably home ownership. It's a good way to start home ownership and start becoming wealthier.
Yes, and I just want to wrap up the whole the first time home buyer programs, and I'm not even just saying what I'm reading. I'm saying what I live and breathe and eat every single solitary day with my homegirl right next to me. We are changing people's lives. And we just had a closing last week, yesterday actually, someone taking advantage of a first-time home buyer program. And in addition to these things, if you can lock yourself into a home and also have a seller concession, you can actually, in these situations, and Ron, I'm going to be talking to you after the show, you can sometimes get money back at closing.
We just had that closing last week where that happened for our buyer.
You get some money back at closing because you have your 1% investment. You get the down payment assistance funds if you qualify for these programs. And sometimes it works out where you can actually get even your appraisal money back at closing. But you don't know until you have these conversations. And we're ready to debunk any negative thoughts out there because we're here to invest in you. We're not here to sell you. We're here to help you.
Great stuff. 248-539-9797. We come back. You're going to become a successful homeowner. It's as easy as that.
Let's do it. 2024. Let's go. Buy
All
you
right.
a house.
Keep it right here. We'll be right back. We are back live here in the studio, 944. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. I'm Harvey Freed, Harry Glanz, Becky Alley, Jennifer Hemstrom joins us from Thrive Realty. And we've got so many calls. We've got, maybe we hit that funny bone on you a little bit, a little bit. 248-539-9797. We want to hear from you. Let's go out to Brandon. Brandon, you got a question? Go ahead with it.
Yes, I have a question. Good morning.
Morning.
In September, I purchased a property, an investment property. It's probably my second one, and I have someone that's willing to rent the home. Unfortunately for me, there's not much or any profit to be made in terms of the rent because the taxes weren't homestead, and et cetera, et cetera. And right now, there's equity in the home, and I don't know if the market, should I sell the home or should I hold on to it? I mean, it's hard to decide. Well, hearing you guys and talking about just having property and how the numbers should change next year. I don't know if I should hold on to it and just have someone in it, or should I just list it on the market and see if see how much more I could get?
Becky, I'm going to go with he's going to want to rent this out because I don't want him to hit the gains. He's going to have those gains.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, Brandon. I want to know what's your goal? What are your financial goals? When you bought this property, what were you thinking about? How long did you have a plan to hold it? And what kind of numbers in your head at that time versus what it's throwing off for you right this second? So the bottom line is you got to decide, what you want to do with it, if it works math-wise for you and financially. So,
right.
How long you're going to, if you're taking a hit on it, how long do you want to take the hit? What kind of cash flow? Is it thrown off for you? And really sit down with one of us or talk to us. Becky and Harvey are really great at deciding, and then you'll make your own decision. And if it's worth it for you to hold it, and if not, you got sometimes less is best, right? Sometimes less aggravation is best.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So because he was just, you mentioned should you sell, should you rent it? And obviously, when you bought this, this investment property, you probably maybe didn't have that conversation with your real estate agent of what those taxes were going to change to once it became non-homestead. Because, when you're building this real estate portfolios, cash flow is everything, and those taxes seem to be a little bit of, they kind of caught you off guard a little bit, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You know what didn't catch anyone off guard, Becky? Yesterday was December 1st. And guess what? It's like clockwork. And Brandon, I'm just wondering, did you go to your mailbox and boom, there's the tax bill for the winter tax bill? It's a killer. I know. I told my girlfriend when I met her years ago, I'm like, there's a couple things that for sure are going to happen about this because she does the escrow waiver. Look, congratulations on being a homeowner again and trying to dipping your toes into this. But again, it's always about the numbers, Jen. And thanks for the call, Brandon. We're going to follow up with you for sure. Jen, look at that. Everyone wants to be an investor. I want to own a whole bunch of rentals, but you need more smart people in your life. You got to break down what the non-homesteaded tax are going to be. How much rent can you get for this property? How much money are you going to come out of pocket? All the smart stuff that you need to have qualified people helping you with.
There's a lot that goes into it, and happy to run some numbers and see what you can get for rent. Mm-hmm. Taking in those higher taxes into consideration, maybe it'll work.
Yeah, I think it will. So I feel like we're going to reach out to you after he's going to reach out to him because I wanted to go a little bit deeper with him on some of that stuff, but it's all good. We only got so much time, but you have to look at the numbers. He might actually be able to make that rent that he needs to because rent is appreciating. He might not have to unload that property, but if it is, but again, we talk about it. Real estate is the long game, and it's all about getting the right people in your corner. So, and what's cool about Jen is that even though there might not be something there for you, you're willing to talk to him and be like, hey, what can you get? And then you maybe can assist him finding a renter for that particular price point. Or is he done with it, and does he want to unload the property and then maybe find something that could fit that cash flow and then take the right step, in an educated kind of mindset?
Yeah, there are a lot of depending factors here that you got to go over, and you got to get deeper in it. How much cash flow, how much is he willing to go into his pocket for every month if there's a deficit number? Does it look like, what are the repairs on the property? There are a lot of things that come up when everybody watches TV and they want to rent and buy properties and everything like that. Sometimes, you got to just take a look at it, you put pen to paper on it, and you do the math, and then you figure out what's the long game. How much are you going to take a hit for? Do you have the cash flow, the financial wherewithal? Because sometimes in order to get 2 steps ahead, you got to take a step backwards. So maybe, we don't know, maybe it's worth it for him to hold on, but you got to do the math. But most importantly, what are his goals? What are his immediate needs?
Yeah, and that goes into the whole point of what we were speaking on even in the early part of the show. When you're buying high right now, and then you're like, oh crap, my payment's a little bit more. So that's why this right now, we're in that sweet spot because in a year, that same house is going to be a little bit more. And when you're trying to, have gains on an investment portfolio, there's going to be some investors coming in from California. They don't care. They have the deep pockets. So, but not everyone is in that position. So you got to have the right conversations up front. And I think that was an amazing call because that is the other side of the coin, right? Everyone wants to talk about oh, look at me. I'm an investor and I'm doing all the things, but there is an ugly, gritty side that doesn't always work out.
Jen, you need a great agent like you for sure.
Absolutely.
How about a CPA? You need a CPA to say, hey, wait a minute here. Look at this. Is this going to make sense for me? If I'm only going to net $300 a month on my rental. It's $3,600 a year, and I'm not a handy guy. That's a problem. I've seen it work for people where they have a little bit of money coming in. It's going to work for them in the long game, as Becky mentioned. But if they're not handy, if they can't put in a new hot water heater, if they can't drywall and add trim and replace a toilet, some of the basic stuff that landlords really can get burned on. Again, you miss 1 month of rent, and then the furnace goes. All of a sudden, your investment's not doing so good.
And what happens if you have somebody tear up the property? I mean, they're in there and they just tear it up. I mean, these things do happen,
They
so
do.
you have to consider it. So, and you got to play the long game,
Yeah.
Becky. That's when you're investing like that. It's a long-term game.
And that's why when we're doing investment qualifications, you have to have the reserves. Reserves is money in addition to what you have to put down, because you have to have that emergency fund, because we've been in the business long enough, and there's a reason why that everyone has well-qualified mortgages right now, and that's for that reason. Like, if you miss a payment, investors got burned during 2020 for sure.
The government sent a
Yes.
letter to everyone saying, hey, you don't have to pay your rent. That was a huge problem.
But guess
if you
what?
just bought rentals.
But guess what? You still got to make that mortgage payment every single solitary month, and those are the things that people weren't speaking on. So understand that we have empathy there. We know what goes on behind the scenes. We get into that, with all of our individuals that we're helping, and we're here to help educate you. So I would love to help him get in the right spot with you. So that was a really good call.
Jen, could you believe it? Rates fluctuated so much in 2023. We started the year just a little over 6%. Then really August, September, October, all of a sudden these rates are climbing to 8%. Now we see a little bit of lower rates out there, maybe some opportunity. And we always talk about this window. So let's just go back to that. Inventory's tight, but if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're looking to get into the marketplace, now is that 2-month window. This is what we
It
keep
is.
talking about. Get out there.
Seasonality is going to start kicking in probably March, April, when we see it start getting busy again. So we do have a great window of time now for you to jump in. If you haven't talked to a lender, you can get that done quickly before the holidays and start shopping.
Jennifer, we live in such a herd mentality. Everybody seems to go with the crowd, go with doing. If you go against the flow right now and you stay out there through the holidays or up until the holidays, we can get you into the house by the holiday. If somebody signs a purchase agreement next week, you'll be in by Christmas. We promise you that. We can do that. But the thing is, if the crowd is going one way and you're going with the crowd, then when the crowd comes back into the buying game, you're just going to be like everybody else. That's not the place you want to be in this market.
Yeah, I'm with you. If there's one thing that, I know Jen, same way, and you guys just had your whole Thrive Advance over at your agency, but if everyone else is sleepwalking, I'm literally bulldozing right. I'm like part
That
the
a
Red
girl?
Sea. I'm going right in between them, because this is the point where people naturally procrastinate. Oh, I'm going to wait till after the holidays. I'm going to do this after the holidays. I'm going to wait till the first year. I'm going to be a brand new person come, January 1st, 2024. No, the things that you're doing right now are going to set you up for success. And, this is when you can literally change your life. And I'm going to be honest with you, me personally, I've taken more mortgage applications this past week than I did even the last 30 days, because the individuals that we are reaching out to, they are understanding that if they want to do it anytime in the next 5 years, this is where we need to be. We need to start churning that, getting those wheels turned. And we actually had someone that was pre-approved, found a house, all within 20 days. Closed.
Yeah, it can happen. Your
Yep.
goal should be set for the new year right now. We've gone over some numbers with Becky, going over, you have to set your goals right now, and then you have to have that plan in place, because when it rolls around to January 1, you want to be already on go. You can't wait. And if one of your goals is to own a house, you can't quit right now. You can't quit looking, Jennifer. You just can't.
Agreed. And, after the holidays is relative. Are you really going to call January 1st, or is it going to be February? Then we're out looking in March, and hey, it's spring already.
Because you know what happens.
Yep.
Because society's going to take off December 15th through January 15th with the holidays, with everything. It's that sleep mentality.
I
And
get
don't
really
get it.
frustrated.
Every year I go through the whole thing with everybody, and they hate hearing it, that from Thanksgiving to Christmas, people are taking off, and then the week from Christmas to New Year's, then people are easing back in. That's our society, though. That's the herd mentality that's out there.
Or
So
even in
much
July,
opportunity right
people,
now.
even in the summertime when it's you're literally just grinding it out and hitting it so hard, and then people want to check out during the first week of July because of the 4th of July. I get so frustrated. That's to me personally. I'm I have this. I just get so irritated. I'm like, what are you doing?
We're going to hang out on the lake, Becky. That's what we're going to do. We'll talk to you next week.
I'm on 4th of July. I was taking calls, taking applications on a boat.
Yeah.
We're working all the time because I'm excited to change people's lives, and you should be excited to change your own life.
All right, whether you rent or own, all in all, 62% of Americans think home prices will increase next year. And 2/3 of those folks, 66% of them, Harry, say that they believe that home prices will rise over 5%. The inventory
hearing
crisis.
15.
I'm telling
Who
you,
knows?
it's going to be good because they just can't build these homes overnight, Jen.
No.
248-539-9797.
say.
You want to sneak in your call. Jen's like, no, not at all.
Just like, get with it. Get hip.
All right. And again, if home ownership's not your thing, then you can continue to rent. We got plenty of investors out there, landlords, Becky. They love calling us up and getting those loans on their investments.
If you don't understand home ownership, I guarantee your landlord does. And you have individuals are coming in from all states because Michigan is extremely affordable. So get hip, invest in yourself because they don't care what the interest rate is, and neither should you at this point in time. Get in there while you can. Find a house that you can afford and a payment that works for you.
I love it. Get your team together. And speaking of teams, is there a football game tonight?
We got some football later tonight,
There
Harry.
you go. I knew that.
All right, little Go Blue
good
out
luck.
there.
Good
And
luck
want to
to
thank
everybody.
Jennifer Hemstrom for coming in, Thrive Realty. Of
Thanks
course,
so much
easy for
for
me to
having
say.
me.
All right, you guys are great over there. Lots of excitement energies. A lot of great agents out there. Give us a call, Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll get you set up with these great folks. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.